after 5 years of hard work, I found 916 inscriptions that were dated in Kali Yuga. Not only that, 113 dates found in manuscripts. Total amount to 1029. I will narrate one by one inscriptions. So North India or South India, the same tradition, same culture is followed. That we have to understand. See, Draupadi and Panchapandava lived north of our nation, but there are three temples for Pandava, Panchapandava and Draupadi in Tirupur district and Erode district. In Vanjipuram, Panchapandava and Draupadi, even still they are worshipped in a temple, and also Kallipalayam, Velampalayam, there are temples. Namaskar, Vanakkam. First of all, I express my heartfelt thanks to Sangam Talks for giving me this opportunity to present my views and actual facts on Kali Yuga dated inscriptions. I am Dr. M.L. Raja, an eye surgeon and also epigraphist, archaeologist and historian. I do research as the director Avinash and also director of the Research Institute of Chronology and History, RICH. I can be contacted through the mail ID drmlraj@gmail.com and my mobile 9443370129. In this session, I am going to detail about the Kali Yuga dated inscriptions. That means the inscriptions either on the stones or copper plate that are all dated in Kali Yuga years. That is, how many years elapsed or how many days elapsed since the beginning of Kali Yuga. That is inscribed on the stone or copper plate. That is Kali Yuga 4332 means 4332 year after the beginning of Kali Yuga. It is a research project of more than 5 years. Why? What is the necessity for this research project? I came to know when interact with the many scholars of foreign and our nation, they have a strong belief that there are not more than 5 to 10 inscriptions that were dated in Kali Yuga. And their another belief was throughout Bharat, there is no common era followed. Every region followed its own era, like Salivagana in southern Bharat, Vikramaditya in Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Orissa, and Ganga era in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Vikram era, and also Ganga era in Orissa, Gupta era in the region of Gupta ruling period area, that is Magadha and Uttar Pradesh, Lauhika era or Saptarishi era in Jammu Kashmir and adjacent areas, Malavagana Saga in the western parts of Madhya Pradesh and eastern part of Rajasthan, Vikrama Salukya era in Dakshin part or northern part of Karnataka. Like that, and many inscriptions mentioned the number of year of ruling of the king. So they thought that there are no common era followed throughout India. But when I want to analyze what is the actual fact in these two statements, I started doing research in the year 2019 and I published a book in 2020 by name Kali Yuga Inscriptional Evidence. Astonishingly, I found that there are 436 inscriptions that were dated in Kali Yuga. And they not only dated in Kali Yuga, many inscriptions mention other era also, along with Kali Yuga. So, and also mentioned the king's name or dynasty, rulers or historical personalities or mudskids name. So, they are all cross-verifiable. They are distributed throughout Bharat and also in Thailand. But why this? I made it not only that they are mentioning only 5 to 10 and throughout common era, no common era followed in India. These scholars have a strong belief that Kali Yuga is not a historical era. It's only astronomical. For astronomical purpose they used because this Kali Yuga, a number of years, 432,000 years, can be easily dividable by any large number. So it is for astronomical. In spite of the fact that we do Sankalpa Mantra since 5000 years, in many houses every day, that is Adya Brahmana, Todiya Prarde, Svedavaraha Kalpe, Vaivasvadavan Mandare, Ashtavimsadi Tame, Kali Yuge, Pratame Bhage. That is, we are spelling the time, not only that, Jambudvibe, Bharadakande, Bharadavarshe, Dakshno, Mero, Parshve, like that. Space also we are mentioning. This is 5000 years we are following that tradition. And almanacs mentioned the number of years elapsed since Kali Yuga. And many of the horoscopes, if you find that this baby was born on the particular day of Kali Yuga, that is 14 lakhs, 50,000, like that it will happen. And our Purana and many of the ancient literature often mentions dates in Kali Yuga. And the astronomical text definitely mentioned, that is Kali Vagana Saga began in 3179th year of Kali Yuga. It is not only followed in one region. Throughout Bharat, every region followed the same almanac and same horoscope and astronomical text mentioned, and Sankalpa Mantra is followed throughout Bharat and in all Bharatiya languages. In spite of that, they mentioned Kali Yuga is not followed in Bharat and there is not uniform and single era throughout Bharat. So I want to verify the fact. So I did started this research 6 years back and I published one book. But after publishing the book, many questions asked me. That is, my earliest inscription was Aihole inscription, that is less than 1400 years before present. So they told that Aryabhattiyam, they wrongly dated Aryabhattiyam in 499 Common Era. So only after Aryabhattiyam, our kings followed, our people followed Kali Yuga. So I have to answer that question also. So I went first initially also I went many locations, temples in search of Kali Yuga, and also studied more than 200 texts to produce that book, to complete that research. Now after this question, I have to show that before Aryabhatta period, that is the Western assumed period of Aryabhatta, there should be some inscriptions. Then only it is a good answer to them. So I studied again Louis Rice Mysore inscriptions and also H.S. Wilson's Mackenzie catalog. In that I found astonishingly there was a Kali Yuga dated inscription. Still it existing in Uppaturu in Andhra Pradesh. So after 5 years of hard work, I found 916 inscriptions that were dated in Kali Yuga. Not only that, 113 dates found in manuscripts. Total amount to 1029. I will narrate one by one inscriptions, the most important inscriptions, to show that its distribution is throughout Bharat and all era are used. This is Gramam inscription in Tamil Nadu. In my book, that is Kali Yuga dated inscription, recently published, volume 1, volume 2, total about 1000 pages, more than 1000 pages. In that the serial number is 19. It is dated Kali Yuga 4044 and Kali days, astonishingly it mentioned 14 lakhs 77,037th day. Not only that, when I visited the temple, I found that the exact time of Pradishta of the Sivalinga is mentioned through trigonometric calculations. I have explained how trigonometric calculations are developed in our nation based on the bow arrow technique. That picture you can understand. This I explained in Sangam Talks one year back by title Moon Ruchi Padanaradi. That anybody want, they can refer. This is an inscription. It mentioned that the Sivalinga Pradishta was done by the Kerala General of Parandaga Chola Chakravarti, Vellan Kumaran, on the Kali 4044, Parandaga Chola Chakravarti's year, regnal year 36, Kali day 14 lakh 77,037 days. On Saturday and Revati Nakshatra, Kumbha Lagna, just exactly 43 seconds after sunrise. It is given in Nalika, 1 Nalika and 46 Vinalika. If you calculate the explanation of what it mentioned, moon ruchi 16 adi. It is a trigonometric calculation, and it gives, this is Anamalai inscription near Madurai. It gives Kali Yuga date. And this is in Tamil Nadu, Sri Mushnam inscription, issued during the period of Sundara Chola Chakravarti. This is Tamil Nadu. This is Jammu and Kashmir, Bhuvaneshwari inscription. During the rule of Kashmir Sultan Jal Abuddin, this inscription is there. It shows that throughout Bharat, this usage of and prevalence of Kali Yuga, and the whole Bharat followed one era. That to prove that I am showing various regions. This is Ayodhya inscription. This is Orissa inscriptions. Orissa. This, and this is Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. This is again Orissa. And this is Batara inscription, Assam Bangladesh border. And this is Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. And not only within Bharat, even adjacent countries in Sri Lanka. Already I have shown Bangladesh Assam border Batara inscription. This is Sri Lanka inscription. It is much older than Aryabhata's date. Its date is Kali Yuga 3025. That is 2100 years before present. It was issued by the Sri Lankan king, Singai Arya Chakravarti. What is the history of Singai Arya Chakravarti? I will later narrate. It is now kept in Jaffna University. Anybody can go and verify this inscription. So even in Sri Lanka there is an inscription, and Singapore there is one inscription. Sri Lanka another two. There are two inscriptions. Besides that, in Thailand, Wat Hua Wan, there is an inscription Kali Yuga dated 4332. That is in Sanskrit. It is kept in Bangkok Museum. It's a copper plate inscription. And the most important thing is Upaturu inscription in Andhra Pradesh. That inscription was given as the front cover page of this book. This is the Vishnu temple and Ishvara Amareshwara temple. This inscription is erected on a stone pillar erected in front of the Amareshwara temple, 9 feet height and also 1.25 feet breadth, weighing more than a ton. On the three sides of the inscription, this inscription is inscribed. What it mentions is Divi Sagasra Kalau Prapte Sutirte Purvasakare Brahma Pradishtatu Kritavan Trinetra Pallava. Trinetra Pallava is a Pallava king who ruled from Kanchi, and he issued this inscription in Kali Yuga 2000. That means 3125 years before present. That is 1101 BCE. This is the inscription, and now it is actually it has fallen down and lying on the ground. I went there to that place, a small village. I stayed there with the officer's permission. It was erected. Again, it is the original place, and because to protect that, we made that there is a tamper-proof glass covering with zinc pipe and a door we kept. This is the estampage of the inscription. Strongly proves that even 3125 inscriptions before present, there was Kali Yuga is followed. And this is the copper plate of the inscription. And to prove this, there are village records in this Upaturu and adjacent areas, proving the rule of Trinetra Pallava 3125 years before. These village records were recorded by Lieutenant Colonel Colin Mackenzie when he visited this place 225 years before. The village records he copied, and these village records are kept in Telugu University, Hyderabad, and I have copied that. I have seen that record. So a strong proof that there is an inscription existed 3125 years before, dated in Kali Yuga. And this is, I told that there are many eras followed in Bharat along with Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is followed throughout Bharat. The other era mentioned in this along with Kali Yuga era are Salivagana, Vikramaditya, and also this Kochi date and Kollam era. Not only that, the most important thing, there are two inscriptions out of this 916. Two were mentioned Kali Yuga along with Hijri date. So Hijri, we know when it happened. We cannot change that chronology. So it is a strong proof that it mentioned this inscription. It is issued by Golconda King found in Telangana state. It mentions the dates in Kali Yuga era, Salivakan era, and Hijri date. So, a strong proof that Kali Yuga began in 3101 BCE. In the same way, Common Era, many inscriptions are mentioned, Kali Yuga and Common Era also. They were issued by British and also Dutch and French people. In the same way, not only these Kali Yuga inscriptions were issued by Bijapur Sultan period and Kashmir Sultan period, and also one inscription mentioned Aurangzeb's name, and it is found in Tamil Nadu and it is dated in Kali Yuga. This is one important inscription found in Tamil Nadu, Elayaram Pannai inscription. So it is kept in Thiruvadurai Adhina Mutt, issued by a Jamindar, Palayakara Jamindar, who ruling Elayaram Pannai near Tirunelveli. It mentioned an excellent thing. That is, it mentions number of days elapsed in Kali Yuga, number of years elapsed in Kali Yuga, and also number of years elapsed since Vikramaditya, Salivagana, and Kollamera, and Bhojaraja, and Krishna Devaraya, and Kakatiya king, Prataparudra. So, you can verify exactly, because 7 or 8 data were given in this Elayaram Pannai inscription. Further, it mentioned how many years elapsed after the creation of this universe. Not only years, how many days elapsed. That also it mentions. And also it mentions how many days elapsed since the beginning of Kali Yuga. So that still that copper plate is in that much. I take a photocopy of that inscription. I have uploaded for your verification. And the most important thing is Kiskinda inscription of Emperor Janamejaya. We know that Janamejaya was the son of Parikshit Maharaja, and Parikshit came to power when at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, Yudhishthira went for Vanavasa, and Parikshit was the grandson of Arjuna, and he was made as crowned as a king. He issued an inscription, two inscriptions that were dated in Jayabhyodaya Yudhishthira Saka 89. What do you mean by Jayabhyodaya means the other name of Mahabharata was Jaya. Abhyodaya means beginning or writing or commencement of narration of Jaya, that is Mahabharata by Vedavyasa. So it exactly mentioned that when Kali Yuga, at the time of Kali Yuga began only, Vedavyasa wrote, narrate this Mahabharata. So that is an important inscription. That copper plate exists in a mutt in Dakshin Karnataka and also in Uttarakhand. This is the photocopy. I got to thank Diction for using this photocopy. That core copper plate is photocopied by him. We have to thank him. But even though the photocopy existed, everything narrations existed, John Faithful Fleet in his writings on old Canaries and Sanskrit inscription called it as a forgery. And Richard Solomon endorsed it. What is the reason for them to say it's a forgery means? The script. Naturally, the script is 300 years old. That we have to accept. And another reason is Janamejaya is a legendary king. Because this inscription is 5036 years old. Why they call Janamejaya and other Yudhishthira, Panchapandava and Sri Rama as a legendary kings means that to find out the reason, you have to understand their strong belief on James User's chronology. James User is an Ireland archbishop. In the year 1654, he declared that the earth was created in the year 4004 BCE in October 23rd at the evening nearer to night. So he is an Ireland archbishop, so everybody accepted. And based on this, we have to allot 2000 years for Great Deluge and Ice Age. So human history cannot go beyond 4000 years. But this inscription is 5036. They have strong belief on the Ireland Archbishop James User. So they declared it as a forgery. But we have to understand, we have to re-examine why a second opinion from an Indian scholar have not obtained. Unjustifiably, it is rejected as a forgery by Western. We also accepted that without a second thought. But actually, see, based on that, I have to narrate one thing. This inscription mentions Jayabhyodaya Udishta Saka 89, but month mentioned is Sagasya. Sagasya, if we were Pushya month or Tishya month or in Tamil Taimasa, we can understand the month. What is the month named by Sakasya, denoted by Sakasya? If you want to know, you have to read Yajurveda, because during Yajurveda period, Pushya month is known as Sakasya month. So, the Yajurveda is a very ancient Veda. We don't know what time it was given to the world by the rishis. So, that much ancient. That's why it mentioned Sagasya month. And also, what are the 14 evidences for this dana, and the place names and river names mentioned are not, at present, we are not following. It's the source and the tradition of issuing an inscription and the narrations of these things told that it is very, very ancient. But these things are not considered. They just mentioned that he is a legendary king based on James User chronology, and also they couldn't understand the tradition of reinscribing old inscriptions. So that they have not understood, because any copper plate or even a stone structure has a lifetime. See, in manuscripts, we used to recopy manuscripts in palm leaf or bark leaf, anything we will rewrite in 200 to 300 years. Because its lifetime is there. Copper plate cannot exist more than 5,000 years. So at periods, it has to be recopied. And during recopying period, they will not recopy in the older text. What is prevalent during that period, that script, that writing style only followed. Because then only the people, common people can understand. Expert people can understand older scripts, but common people understand the script that was prevalent during that period. Is there any evidence for this reinscription in the script that was prevalent during the period of reinscription? Yes, there is an inscription in Tamil Nadu, in Kutraleswarar temple. It mentioned that Kalvettu Vattamadalal Tamilaga Padiyeduthu Kalvettuna Padi. It is a Rajaraja Sola's inscription. That Kalvettu, that inscription was inscribed in Vatteluthu. Vatteluthu is an ancient Tamil script. It will go a round, circular type of thing. That's why Vattam means circular. But that stone was damaged. Stone on which the inscription was inscribed was damaged. So, this old script Vatteluthu, we should not reinscribe it in Vatteluthu. So, the Tamil script that was prevalent during that period, that script is used. So, that is the thing. So, based on script or writing style, we should not determine the date of the inscription. We have to see if there is a name of the king or place names or tradition, and also date. That prevails always over the script and writing style. That is, in Tamil Nadu, you can see, Tamil Nadu and Tirupati, there are more than 36 evidence for reinscriptions. So, without understanding this is a reinscription, inscribed inscription, I have copied. So, without understanding this, these Westerners called it forgery. Forgery is not a thing in our nation till Robert Clive introduced in the Plassey War in 1757. He himself accepted that he forged the governor's signature. So, before that, we are very truthful, and we don't do forgery. So, out of this, like that, I have shown various inscriptions, not only in various regions of Bharat, but adjacent countries also. I have shown photocopies. So, the number of inscriptions I copied were 916 stone and copper plate inscriptions and 113 dates Kali Yuga in various manuscripts. Some manuscript mention even Kali Yuga 600, Kali Yuga 150, like that. Very earlier dates were mentioned. So it was distributed not only throughout India, in all regions, all states, but adjacent countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and also in Southeast Asian countries like Singapore and Thailand. And it was issued in all Bharatian languages by all dynasties, kings, rulers, mudheads, and historical personalities, and also common people. More than 100 inscriptions were issued by common people without mentioning any other eras. That shows their people's confidence in computing their life period in Kali Yuga itself. So, if you say that I lived in this Kali Yuga, so other people can easily understand that much prevalence and usage of Kali Yuga was there in our nation. And from, if you say, accepting Janamejaya, if we say that from Upaturu, that is 1100 BC, to till date, we are more than 3000 years, it was continuously used. It is continuously used throughout Bharat. And one astonishing fact is, there are 26 inscriptions of this, which are mentioned not only Kali Yuga era, Kali Yuga date. This number of days elapsed since the first day of Kali Yuga. That much usage of Kali Yuga era are there. So, for example, in Kudugu region, Merkara, there are 3 inscriptions that were dated in Kali Yuga days. What is the important factor is, suppose the king mentioned that I did Bhumi Puja for construction of Shiva temple on this Kali Yuga Kali Yuga day. And I completed the construction and did Kumbhavishaga in this Kali Yuga day. So, 2 Kali Yuga days are mentioned, and between them, the beginning and completion of the construction, how many years, how many months, how many days were elapsed. That also mentioned. 3 inscriptions are there. So, that much correctness and exactness of Kali Yuga computation was there in our nation. So, many kings, all the kings issued, and in many eras, including Hijri and Common Era, are used. So, based on this, we can cross-verify whether this Kali Yuga inscription date were correct or not. It can be cross-checked because it mentioned not only Kali Yuga era, other era also mentioned, and other king's name or ruler's name. So, we know their period through other evidence, literary or inscriptional evidence. So, they can be cross-checked and cross-verified. Nearly 80% of the inscriptions are cross-verifiable and cross-checked. Further, these inscriptions, because they are kept in the public place. So, in public place, nobody can write or inscribe a wrong thing or a false thing. And it cannot be altered in later era also. No interpolation, no alteration, no deletion can be happen. So, it is completely 100% reliable. Further, because since the number of days elapsed were mentioned, so it gives the chronology, exact date, precisely. These are all the advantages of Kali Yuga dated inscription. So, why these Kali Yuga dated inscriptions are that much important? Because you see that from Sir William Jones and Wilson, and also H.S. Wilson, Colonel Wilford Max Muller, they formulated a false chronology for our nation. That is the contemporariness, conjectured contemporariness of Chandragupta Maurya with Alexander of Macedonia, based on one textbook, Maccasthin's Indica. See, if you read that Maccasthin's Indica, it is not found exact text. Many later scholars or later writers told that Maccasthin wrote like that. So, it is a hearsay account. The exact text of that Maccasthin was not found at all. It was lost. So, in that, understand the credibility of the text, we have to refer Strabo of Greek and Pliny of Italy. What they mentioned, Maccasthin is a liar. No faith can be kept on his writings. So, it is not sheet anchor. Sheet anchor is a exact time of duration of an event. from which ancient past and future events and their dates can be derived. That is sea tanker. But it is not sea tanker, it is a cheat tanker. But then what is the sea tanker of our nation? That is Kali Yuga date. Because we followed, I have shown that Sankalpa Mandra, Almanak, Jataka, and astronomical and other texts, more than 5,000 years we followed. Not only for years, throughout Bharat we are following. Everybody, even common people know that. The computation of Kali Yuga. So it should be the sea tanker. So that means we ought to understand when Kali Yuga began. And why they made Chandragupta Maurya and Alexander contemporary and reduced our antiquity. That motive we have to understand. It is not unknowingly or without studying properly they are out. No. They have a motive. For example, on Aryabhata's date, Aryabhata, I have already referred, born in 2764 BCE, Shashtyabdanam Shadbiryata Vyetitaha Yukapada Trayacha Yukapadaha, he wrote. So they changed Shashtyabdanam Shadbigi means 360 years after Kali Yuga. They changed 16 into 60, Shadbigi into Shashtigi, and make Aryabhata to come forward in the modern period at 476 Common Era and wrote Aryabhatam at 499 Common Era. What is the motive? Because they want to show that Aryabhata learned and we learned astronomy and mathematics from Greek like Hipparchus and Ptolemy. That is their motive. To reduce our antiquity, to seed inferiority complex in our mind, and we should see Europeans as superior people, and then only they can rule this country and loot for it forever. That is the motive. So further, this Kali Yuga date is linked to Mahabharata war. See, Kali Yuga, on the day of Kali Yuga only, Sri Krishna went to Vaikunta after completion of his purpose of avatara. And on that day only Kali Yuga entered as per Bhagavata Purana, Vishnu Purana, Matsya Purana, Brahmanda Purana, and Vayu Purana, Brahma Purana. You can refer. So when Mahabharata war happened, we know 36 years of curse of Kandari. So 36 plus 4 months, because Mahabharata war fought on Margashirsha month and Kali Yuga began in Chaitra month. So 37 years. That means Mahabharata war happened in 3138. And this Purana mentioned the chronology of Ikshavaku, Pandava, and Magadha dynasty from the date of Mahabharata. So we can easily derive the exact chronology. So that is the important thing. And another thing, why it is linked to Mahabharata war, I want to narrate one incident, that there is a Kali Yuga inscriptions much. So throughout Bharat and adjacent countries, I have found 916 only. There are 786 districts approximately in our nation. But in only one district, there are more than 62 Kali Yuga dated inscriptions. That district is in Tamil Nadu, western part of Tamil Nadu, and central part of Kongu Desha, that is Tirupur district. Why? I astonished. So I wondered, why these people, for the past 3,000 years, they are following this Kali Yuga date frequently. Even common people followed. What is the reason? I analyzed, and at that time I found there is an inscription in Dharapuram, Tillapuriyamman, that mentioned the other name of Dharapuram as Viradapuram. That opened my eye. So Viradapuram, we know that Panchapandava, after their 12 years Vanavasa, they lived in Ajnadavasa in exile in Virada Desha, in Viradapuram. These people mentioned that Viradapuram, later it became Dharapuram. So these Panchapandava lived in exile in our area only. And there is one Koduvai, there is a Shiva temple whose Talavariksha is Vanni tree, that is Samim tree, Akni tree, in which we know that Panchapandava kept, including Kandiba, they kept hidden in that tree. So they mentioned that this is the tree they kept. And also there is a town, now city, Tirupur. Tirupudal means returning back. Ur means village. In ancient period, it would have a small village, and it is on the bank of Kanchi Nadi, or now called as Noyal Nadi. In these people mentioned, this is at the bank of this Noyal river only, Arjuna and Virada prince Uttara fought with Duryodhana army. Duryodhana army captured all the cows of Virada Desa. So they fought against them and recaptured. That also there. See, this is mentioned in Purananur in Tamil text, ancient, very ancient text as Aanire Kavardal, Aanire Metal. So North India or South India, the same tradition, same culture is followed. That we have to understand. So they have kept that cow in the cow shelter in called Toluvu. Toluvu in Tamil means the cow shelter. Perundoluvu, Karatoluvu, that names where many villages are still there. Further evidence is, see, Draupadi and Panchapandava lived north of our nation, but there are 3 temples for Panchapandava and Draupadi in Tirupur district and Erode district. In Vanjipuram, Panchapandava and Draupadi, even still they are worshipped in a temple, and also Kallipalayam, Velampalayam, there are temples. That cell in this Kongu region, especially throughout Tamil Nadu, mainly this Kongu region, in the western districts of Tamil Nadu, they won't do auspicious celebrations or marriages in Ashada month, because they believe this is a war time. During that period only, Arjuna and Uttara of Dharapuram princess fought with Duryodhana. So this is war period, non-auspicious, so we should not keep marriages. Still they are following. On the 18th day, they used to wash their weapons in the water resources. That is the day of Arjuna's victory over that. Still it is followed. So you can see in Srimad Mahabharatam at Virada Purva at 47th Adhyaya 23rd Sloka, Karna mentioned to Duryodhana, Adesika, Maharanye, Grishme, like that. So Grishme mentioned that they fought with Arjuna in Virada Desa in the Grishma Ritu. Grishma Ritu, hot period. In Tamil, it is known as Muduvenir Kalam. We call it as Ashada month. Jeshta and Ashada month are hot region. So same thing coincides. So in the Ashada month, this is semi-final, and Mahabharata war fought at Margasirsa month. In Kurukshetra is the final. Okay. So this much tradition. So that's why they are believing that Kali Yuga following their in this period. Further, Arjuna's son Abhimanyu married Uttara's sister, that is Virada king's daughter, Uttara princess married. So Abhimanyu and Uttara's son was the Parikshit. So they think that our own grandson, we are the maternal grandfather and mother of Parikshit. So that much connectivity, deep connectivity throughout 5,000 years there are there. That's why they are using. We have to understand. In the same way, if you read William Taylor's one manuscript, very ancient manuscript in Tamil, that is Oriental Historical Manuscript in Tamil language, published in 1815. It is kept in Oxford. In that, it mentioned that it narrates the genealogy of Pandya kings. Pandya are the rulers of southern Tamil Nadu. In that, it mentioned that the Pipravahanan was the son of Arjuna through Sitrangi, the daughter of Pandya king. Because Pandya king has only one daughter, no son. So naturally, Arjuna was asked to give that his first son to rule Pandya king. So there is an interlink between South and North Bharat. In the same way, the Singai Arya Chakravarti, which I mentioned 3025, he is nothing but Sola princess who was requested to rule Sri Lanka. So this much South Asia and Southeast Asia, North and Southern India, there is a link, and Mahabharata was celebrated, remembered, and it is by throughout Bharat, and it is in the inner heart of the people. So based on this, the Kali Yuga date is the seat anchor of our nation's chronology. So for rewriting our nation's history, this is the seat anchor, because our history is wrongly narrated by James Mill and Vincent Arthur Smith. Why history is important? I simply say, in Srimad Ramayana it mentioned Rama forgot his identity. That's why there are a lot of problems. I don't want, because time is short, I will narrate. Once Ambarisha, the strong devotee of Vishnu, got a curse from Narada Rishi and Parvata Rishi that he should forget his identity. This one Rakshasa, Maya Rakshasa, will capture him, and after that, he will forget who he is. So, but he worshipped Vishnu to save him, and Vishnu started attacking that Rakshasa with his Sakrayuda. So, that Rakshasa fell on the feet of Vishnu, and he remembered that it is a universal rule that because there is a curse, I have to capture somebody else. If you not your devotee, I will capture somebody else. So, who you tell? So, Vishnu told, don't capture anybody else. You capture me when I born as a Dasarada's Putra Rama. So, because that Andhakara who make us to forget our identity, Rama forgot that he was the Almighty, omnipotent, omnipresent, Almighty who has the control over the entire universe and beyond that. So since he forgot everything, he behaved as a normal human being. See, Sri Krishna on controlling, taming the seven bull, he immediately to marry Naknajiti, that is Jallikattu in Tamil, he immediately becomes seven Amsa. But Rama would have taken two Amsa, one to protect Sita, one to attack Marisha, Maya, deer. But he forgot his identity. That's why he lost his wife and for 18 months. And he has to go with Sugriva and other requesting them to help. Otherwise, even Vamana Avatara, he got single and defeated the Araka, Rakshasa. So that is the thing. He forgot his identity. This was narrated fully in Linga Purana, Sanskrit Linga Purana. If there is evidence in Valmiki Ramayana, yes, when Brahma made him to realize that he is the omnipotent Almighty, Rama will tell in Yuddha Kanda 100 and Sarga 11th sloka that Atmanam Manusham Manye Ramam Dasaradadvacham. That I think that I am an ordinary human being and son of Dasaratha Rama. Like that, it is there in Valmiki Ramayana, in Kamba Ramayana also there. So once you forget identity, even though you may be rich, you may have the excellent science and technology and defense and economy, everything will not protect. Suppose if you are in Assam border, some remote forest, you have everything, money, science and technology and defense, everything there, arms, armed ammunitions. But you forget who you are. You forget your home, everything. Then how can you return to your home? So that identity is important. That identity for Rama was shown by Brahma. Our own identity will be shown by only history. History alone teaches who you are, what is your ancestry, what is your heritage. So history is important, and that history was wrongly written by Western Europeans with their hidden agenda. So it should be rewritten. And the basis for the history rewriting is inscriptions, because they precisely mention the dates, and also it cannot be altered because they are in public places. That too, Kali Yuga is more important because it is the sea tanker followed throughout Bharat more than 5,000 years, and that's why I wrote this book, Kali Yuga Dated Inscription. And these inscriptions, these texts were written in 2 volumes. So this is available with me at present. Soon we will develop in Amazon. We will put. If you want urgently, you can contact me through 944 3370129, and also you can mail me to drmlraja@gmail.com. I have given mail ID and my phone numbers. I once again thank Sangam Talks for giving me the opportunity, and also excellent audience who patiently listen my lecture. Thank you very much. Dhanyavad.